Hey there, everyone. I'm Ashlea Bullington, and you're watching the fifth quarter. Our Friday Night Rapid Show, we bring you all the things happening around the greater Houston area. In the high school sports scene, and basketball is in full swing as we are in district play with a lot of these teams. And up first, we have Inside High School Sports Insider Matt Harris on with us to talk about those district races. So, Matt, another big week of Texas high school hoops. What are some of the district races that you've been watching this week?
Once again, 24-5A has been phenomenal. Shadow Creek had off Tuesday after their big win against Hightower last week. Hightower bounced back with a 75-72 win over Willow Ridge, who's also pretty good. And then we had a big upset on Tuesday as well, as Fort Bend Marshall took down state-ranked Manville 95-82.
Holy moly.
One big thing that you see with this district is all these teams, they're good, but they score points. Like, these guys get up and down the court, and scoring 95 in a 32-minute game is incredible. It blows my mind.
Another team that scores some big points. We're gonna move out of the bigger district races to a little bit smaller division, as 4A has Houston Yates, who scores a lot of points all the time.
Yeah, Yates is incredible. They beat Wheatley on Tuesday 111-66. It's Yates' eighth straight game scoring 100 points, with the national record being 15 set by Yates back in 2009, 2010. So that's a streak that, they can tie the national records for most 100-point games in a high school basketball season with just 7 more, and they've already had it 8 in a row. So Yates scores a lot of points. 111 in 32 minutes is unfathomable.
I think I remember a game last year where they scored like 147 points or some ungodly number like that. But we'll get back into the bigger schools. What's another race that you've been really interested in watching, or a big game that you watched this week that you were kind of surprised by?
I would say again there's George Ranch beat Dawson in overtime, 60-59, and then in Katy ISD, let me find it, Maid Creek beat Seven Lakes, also 60-59, also in overtime. So I thought that those were 2 interesting games as well, because it seems like a lot of games in Houston, like I've mentioned before on this here segment, in Katy ISD, where it's come down to a lot of 1, 2, 3-point games, or games that go to overtime that really could go either way. So I think there's a lot of teams in Houston where maybe it doesn't have the top-end talent of past years, but you've got a lot of really solid teams that can really play and compete with each other.
And then another district that we always seem to talk about, no matter if it's football and or basketball, is that 15-6A district, as the Woodlands and College Park and all of those schools kind of are having it out for each other again.
Yeah, for sure. There's been a lot of close games in that district this season. Tuesday night was a little bit different. The Woodlands beat Oak Ridge by 13. College Park beat Conroe by 8, I believe. And then Klein Forest picked up their first district win of the season by a significant margin, taking down Klein Collins 78-56. They're still undefeated in district, but all of their previous wins were, 2 and 3-point games. So it's nice for them to get back to a little bit of the Klein Forest way with a dominant win over Klein Collins on Tuesday night.
And then there's a big event coming to Houston here soon, as the McDonald's All-American game will be in the greater Houston area when they all come to town. And we're excited because there's quite a few girls on that list for the McDonald's All-Americans, aren't there?
Yeah, I'll list a few of I'll just go ahead and give you the list. So we've got Talisha Brown from Wheatley, Rianne Burton from Cy Ranch, Alyssa Coleman from Atascocita, Michaela Cross from Madison, Deona Gaston from Pearland, Malia Johnson from Summer Creek, Precious Johnson from Sterling, Zaria Johnson, Destine Labard, and Taylor Purvis, all from Hightower, Fatu Sam and Cameron Lewis from Westside, and Kendria Wilson also from Madison. So you look at,
So the
3
whole
Houston
roster
powers.
is Houston.
I know. Granted, there's I believe, around 900 nominees. That's just the nominees list, so they haven't been chosen yet. But you look at the guys' side. The guys' nominees were L.J. Cryer from Morton Ranch, Tremont Mark from Dickinson, Folowaso Fashoro from Ridgepoint, and Luke Thorburn from Straight Jesuit. So
So
you
the
had
girls'
four on the
side.
guys' side, but the Houston area girls' side had, like, I don't know, that's 10 names probably. So definitely a lot of really good options. And I hope one of those girls is able to make it to the McDonald's All-American game,
It will be
especially because it's in Houston.
yeah, and it'll be exciting to see who makes it. They're gonna have those nominees voted on soon to see who will be actually playing in the game in Houston. Hopefully, you get some Houston kids or some Texas kids in general. But I love seeing that the girls' game is so stacked in Texas throughout the entire state all this year.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's reflected too in the Houston area, and some of these girls included with, two from Madison, two from West Side, three from Hightower. So a lot of really good girls hoops in the area. And Atascocita's been strong all season long behind Alyssa Coleman, who may be the best of the bunch.
Matt, any final thoughts from this week of Texas high school hoops?
Again, just a lot of districts to keep your eye on: the Klein Forest District, KDISD, and maybe none so more important than 24-5A, because every single team in that district can hoop, and that's not going to be a straightforward. We've got two great teams at the top, and the district's going to be decided by those two games that they'll play against each other. You've got teams like Manville and Fort Bend Marshall that can really go and shake things up, and Hightower loses to Shadow Creek, but then maybe Shadow Creek goes and loses to Manville or Marshall, and that shakes things up. So 24-5A is definitely the district to watch down in Houston, and I'd say maybe the most intriguing district to watch in the state moving forward.
Always good insight from Matt. Thank you so much for coming on with us for another week. When we come back, we're going to talk to a coach about his team and how they're performing so far this season.
Don't forget to catch our extended coverage of the high school football season each week on The Warm-Up, presented by your local Houston area Geico agents. We will get you ready for all the action this Thursday on all our social media outlets.
Houston Yates is a powerhouse in Class 4A, one of the best of the best. And this week we caught up with Yates' coach to talk about his team's performance.
This is always a fun rivalry. How'd you play tonight?
Well, I thought we started out not like we wanted to. We wanted the first 2-3 minutes of the game. We wanted to really start out and get it going, and from the beginning, a little sluggish from the beginning there. But as the game went on, we got in our rhythm of what we were trying to do.
How are you feeling about this team as you get ready for the stretch run?
Well, with so much time left, some of the guys been hurt with just getting them, and so we still kind of trying to get acclimated, get them all acclimated to what we're doing. So I think by the end of the year, we'll be really rolling, because some of the guys, again, kind of getting acclimated to what we're doing. So we really want to use these games to get ready for playoff time. And I think by playoff time, we'll be rolling.
What's it going to take to get back to state this year?
Just that we got a great group, talented group, as deep a team as I've had. And so just getting them acclimated to what we want to do, where we playing at our best at playoff time. If we're doing that, then I feel real good about where we are.
Last year, high ranked all year long. How do they respond this year to kind of having a target on their back?
Well, we kind of look at it the other way, because that's been our mindset ever since we lost that game. So instead of people, we don't look at it as target on our back. We look at it as we trying to get that 1 game, 2 games that we didn't get last year. So we don't look at it like that at all. We hungry and ready to go. So.
Coach, thank you so much for coming on the 5th quarter with us. Up next, we have producer Robert Sheik on with us after these messages.
Watch Inside High School Sports to catch this week's Chevy Spotlight, brought to you by your Houston area Chevy dealers. Visit your nearest Chevy dealer to test drive their award-winning products.
We have another great show of Chevrolet's Inside High School Sports on KHU11 at 11 p.m. for you tomorrow night. And right now we have producer Robert Sheik on the phone with us to talk about what's going to be on the show. Robert, we had some big matchups going on around the greater Houston area, one of those being College Park versus the Woodlands. Always a great matchup, no matter if it's in football or basketball.
Yeah, it's fun rivalry there. Always a big crowd, whether that game is played at the College Park or the Woodlands. It was held at the Woodlands tonight, and College Park goes on the road, gets a big 2-point win. Nice W for College Park. Both of those teams are definitely very much in the mix in that district. Very competitive, tightly packed district, and big win tonight for the Cavs. 17 points by Drew Calderon to lead the way for College Park. Big win for the Cavs for sure.
And that's 3 in a row wins for College Park in that basketball rivalry.
Yeah. I think 4 out of the last 5 now going back a few years. Yeah, for sure.
I love it. Such great basketball. And there was another big game that's going to be on the show tomorrow as Westfield pulled out a win.
Yeah, Westfield gets a win, 53-49 over Aldine Davis. Both those teams came in undefeated in district play. And, this game was at Aldine Davis. So, they'll play the return game at Westfield, and that may well end up deciding, who potentially wins that district. But certainly Westfield's win tonight goes a long way towards a district title. And, of course, Westfield has won that district title in football for quite some time. And, the Mustangs would love to secure a basketball title. And I think they would be quite happy if the basketball team could do everything that the football team accomplished this year, getting all the way to the state semifinals.
Most definitely. What else is going to be on the show this week on Chevrolet's Inside High School Sports?
A lot of other good games we can get to here in a second. But our Chevy Spotlight on Galveston Ball, a really good, solid program, kind of athletically, across a lot of sports. But the basketball program ended a 4-year playoff drought last year, finishing second in district, and the Tornadoes are right back in the hunt this year. A good program under head coach Gerald Temple, his 16th year as the head coach of that program. He's a former student there. He's coached guys like Mike Evans, who now plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he touched on that. And Evans comes back. He played basketball at Ball. And then his senior year finally got into football. And that turned out, I would say, pretty well for him. So, but he comes back and works with the basketball players some too. And gives them some advice. And we kind of touch on that in the story. So there's that. And then let's see. Some good Tuesday and Wednesday night action. Wednesday night, Yates, the top-ranked team in the state in Class 4A. The Lions just continue to roll, and I think you had an interview with head coach Wise earlier in the fifth quarter.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so obviously a great program right there. Yates went to state last year, and no reason to think that the Lions can't do that again this year. And their eyes are on the big prize and cutting down the nets in San Antonio this year. Let's see. Fort Bend Travis and Ridge Point was a pretty good game on Tuesday night. We'll have highlights of that. Fort Bend Travis, I believe 20-5 now, something like that this season. So really nice season for the Tigers. Obviously the Tigers had that great 10-0 regular season in football. Won the school's, I believe, first district title. And, maybe the basketball program can emulate that. And there are some holdover players, some notable names from football season are on the basketball roster. Another great game from Tuesday night too that we'll have on the show with Atascocita beating Kingwood. Atascocita, ranked in the top 10 in the state. Let's see, I have those pulled up right here. Atascocita is ranked 8th in the state. Kingwood though gave the Eagles everything they could handle and then some. Kingwood was leading that game late, but Atascocita pulled it out. We'll have highlights from that game tomorrow night on Chevrolet's Inside High School Sports. Let's see, what else did we have? Oh yeah, Cy Park, Langham Creek. Cy Park, we talked, all throughout football season about these second-year programs kind of making big strides, and Cy Park is doing that on the basketball side of things. And in that same district, there's another second-year program, Bridgeland, and we won't have highlights of this one this week, but we're going to have to get out to get the Bears soon, because the Bears in that same district got a big win on Tuesday night over Cy Lake. So shout out to Bridgeland. They deserve some love too. And we'll have highlights of Cy Creek's girls beating Memorial. Cy Creek's girls now 28-0, ranked third in the state. They were our feature of our Chevy Spotlight last week. If you haven't seen that, catch it. Look for it on InsideHighSchoolSports.tv or any of our social media platforms. But great program the head coach Jennifer Alexander has there at Cy Creek, and that team. If I had to say one team from the area, if only one team would win state in boys or girls, it'd be hard to pick against them right now. Although there are a lot of really good options. Let's be honest. Shadow Creek on both the boys and girls side, Hightower on both the boys and girls side. Yates right now is really good. Summer Creek on both the boys and girls side, but that Cy Creek team just looks to have something special about it right now. Like, here we are almost in February and they have not lost a single game. That's just insane to me.
It's absolutely crazy to think to look at their so far this season, to look at their record and say, wait, that's a 0 at the end of that.
Yeah, no, and they're like Memorial's a really good team and a really good program. Especially on the girls' side, we're used to seeing Memorial play really well, and Cy Creek was up by 20 points in the first quarter in that game. It's Cy Creek is just playing at such a different level right now that it's hard to see this team not doing something special as we get into late February and early March. So, but they're going to continue to take it one game at a time, and we won't get ahead of ourselves. But that is a fun team to watch, and definitely one to if you haven't had a chance to check them out, that's definitely a team to check out for sure.
So we have a cougar call and a tornado warning coming up on the show.
Yes, there you go.
I had to make the joke before we ended this. Any final thoughts before we wrap up the fifth quarter tonight?
No, I think that's it. I think we kind of touched on most of it. A lot of good action, around the Houston area. Some great games tonight, and College Park, the Woodlands, our game of the week definitely lived up to the billing. You love those rivalry games, so I'm glad it turned out as great as it did.
Awesome, Robert. Thank you so much. It's going to be another great week on Chevrolet's Inside High School Sports. Catch all the action tomorrow on KHU 11 at 11 p.m. Until then, I'm Ashlea Bullington, and thank you for watching the fifth quarter.